Happy A-level results day, guys, and I'll leave a link at the end of this video if you want to check out my last year's A-level results, and I've got my own A-level results. This is a video where I'll be giving you tips and tricks on how to effectively just the study routine to get you all A stars at A-level. So we'll crack straight on with the video. In at number 1, I'm going to make this very clear straight away. I'm sure all your teachers will tell you this, or all your assembly leaders, head of sixth, whatever, and that is those free periods you get at A-level. Of course, unlike at GCSE, no matter what sixth form or sixth form college or school or whatever you go to, you will of course only be doing either 3 A-levels in EPQ or 4 A-levels, or those absolute banks who do 4 A-levels in EPQ. No matter what, you will have perhaps 5 or 6 periods in the school day, but you only have lessons for 2 or 3 of those 5 or 6 periods, in which case you have those new free periods. Very exciting, isn't it? You look at your timetable on the first day of year 12, you're like, oh my days, man, said I've got like 3 hours between French and German to just do whatever. Brawl Stars on the phone. No. Use your free study, whatever your school wants to call them, periods. I cannot tell you how much it simply does help me, and I think it also makes you feel more productive, because at the end of the day, if you're treating school like a sort of 9 to 5, like, you know, oh, I go into school from 9 till 3 and I just work completely either in lesson, you know, when you're taught, or in my study periods, it makes you feel more productive and it gets you into that healthy habit. Point being, it utilises your time. And number 2, now this wasn't such a big problem at GCSE because it's a bit more, of course, well, easier to put it in layman's terms. Of course, GCSEs are easier than A-levels, that's kind of the point. But that is checking the specification. Of course, at GCSE, you may have been able to sort of get away with kind of just glossing over the revision book or scanning through your teacher's lessons in terms of the actual content you need to know for your exam. But at A-level, of course, it's a lot broader and bigger topics. Particularly, I'm looking at you science students, you mathematics students, and English students. I think particularly for the core subjects, there's so much that can be covered. I mean, physics, like I did year 12 physics and then dropped it afterwards. I just did AS level, but like we had lessons, we also required practicals and the write-ups and all that other stuff. It's a lot of content. So if like again on day 1 or in the beginning week, you check your specification and then you print it out. I'd very highly recommend you print out specification. It simply makes that process easier the more you go into your course, because at the end of the day, if it's not on the specification, it will not be in your exam. I'll repeat that. If it's not on the specification, it will not be in your exam. If it is on that specification, it could come up in your exam. So at the end of the day, again, that idea of sort of security and sort of peace of mind, again, like I said in the last point, utilising your time, it gives you that sense of security and happiness if at the end of the day, you know it's on your specification and you know it could come up. The study tip, and this kind of leads into that, is that you need to be studying for, I would say, 2 to 3 hours per subject every day. This makes sense because you typically have either 1 hour or just 50 minutes in the school day, depending if your school does 5 periods or 6 periods in the day. I know some sixth form colleges do that sort of 2 hour break, 2 hour thing, whatever your school does. I would say shoot for 2 to 3 hours per subject every day, which means, yes, you are looking for, if you just want to do, I don't know, study geography for the day, you're looking at 3 hours. If you want to look at 2 subjects for the day, looking at perhaps 6 hours. And again, looking at somewhere between 7 to 9 hours every single day studying if you really want to hit those top grades. At the end of the day, you've got to be realistic. Biology is a very big topic and it's a very complex topic. I did not do it at A-level. Mitochondria's powerhouse of the cell, that's all I know. But if you want to do very well in it, you are going to need to spend so much time on it, aren't you? And also, again, it's sort of like I said in the GCSE one, which is coming out soon, that sort of, I call it the rule of 3, or like the triplet rule, where no matter how much, whatever you do in lesson for the day, multiply that by 3 and do that for your revision. So if you have 1 hour of maths, do 2 or 3 hours of maths revision afterwards. So again, it's kind of just, this main point here is that you've got to be realistic. You know, just sort of casually eating Space Raider crisps and watching the Antiques Roadshow for 30 minutes while you scribble down some maths notes is not going to help you. Full focus there and stay locked in. The 4th point you should be able to see on your screen now, and that is creating your revision timetable. Now, this is why I think specification helps you so much out here, because as you should be able to see on screen now, I'm effectively taking the specification and what's on it and then sort of colour coordinating it and lining up to the subject, so I know, you know, what I'm doing and how in depth I know about the subject. So I'm if you look at physics AQA A level, the first topic of we've got that sort of atomic structure stuff. So I know about hadrons and protons. That's the course, and then I'll color coordinate it depending on how confident I am. And of course, you don't have to be symmetrical with your sort of hours. You don't have to do 1 hour physics and 1 hour biology. You could do 3 hours of physics and just 30 minutes of biology if you're so much more confident in biology than physics. Prioritize what you need. It's very. I was guilty of this. I raised my hands. I was guilty of this myself. It is so tempting to just revise those easy topics or revise Elizabeth I because you're very confident on it, but that won't do. I also recommend you get all these textbooks as well when you start your exams, because it just makes things easier. And of course, as you can also see on the screen now still, if you have your textbook, like your specification, it helps you know your topics well and you know what you're studying to making your revision timetable. I think the screen and what's on the screen now is probably more useful than what I'm waffling on about, so I'll move swiftly on. The fifth tip is what I call tip if you humanities students look at you here, so sort of RE, philosophy, geography, psychology, history, and that is a phrase I did not use myself, but I think it was my A-level geography teacher said it, and that is not all but enough. Not all but enough. Effectively, you need to not know everything. Knowing everything doesn't guarantee you an A star, and that's something you need to realise. Swallowing the specification or swallowing the textbook doesn't actually guarantee you an A star. I would say it does probably guarantee you at least a C or possibly a B, just because if you know everything, that obviously is a good thing. But to get those B, A star, it's about knowing how to structure exam questions. Because, if you look at, say, I'll put another thing up on screen now, to get geography paper 2 from Edexcel A level. If you look at sort of the years gone by, the 2019, 2020, 2021 past papers, you have quite recurring topics. For instance, there's always a question on sort of volcanoes, or there's always a question on, that's paper 1, but on paper 2 there's always a question on sort of, high income countries, low income countries. Do you know what I mean? You can sort of pattern things together and you'll go, oh well, there's always these questions on a certain topic, so therefore I don't need to know everything about everything, but as long as I know a lot about this certain topic or how to apply it in the exam, that will help a lot. So in summary, it's not about necessarily knowing everything, it's about knowing enough very well. I think that's probably the best thing to describe it. I've got that's the first 5, but I thought I'd include these 2 bonus tips in at number 1. That is, on day 1 and the first week, make sure you buy all your textbooks. It is literally, I think, the bare minimum. My A-level history teacher actually had a rule where if you didn't have a textbook by the end of September year 12, he'd kick you out of lesson until you actually had the textbook. Luckily, everyone got the textbook, so we didn't have to do that. But I agree with him, it's good to be disciplined and get all your textbooks, because then, again, that sort of frame of mind, if you've bought the item, if you've committed to it, you're more likely to study, because again, I think it's quite a materialistic thing at times with revision, I've got 5 very beautifully lined up Tudor and Russian history textbooks there. I want to look at them. Maybe I'm just a nerd with books. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, get your textbooks. And also these ones too, about the more sort of broader how to get an A in a certain subject ones. And the final bonus tip, and thus the final tip of this video, and that is, if nothing else, if you forget everything else from this video, variety and consistency. A-levels are a big thing. The exams are a big thing. But if you are consistent, you turn up every day to do your lessons, study periods or free periods, whatever you want to call them, you go home, you do the extra 2 hours on the geography past paper, you do the extra 3 hours on Henry VII's foreign policy, domestic policy, you will succeed. And then the term variety. Just looking at the textbook, just doing past papers, just doing Seneca. That's not enough, but doing Seneca past papers and the textbook, plus making little study notes, maybe mind maps, teaching someone else, exam reports, that will get you an A star, because that's variety. If your variety is very high and broad, and you look at every single nook and cranny into what's to do with the subject, that'll set you up very well. And it also adds that sort of flair and creativity into your revision, because you're more likely to want to study if you know you haven't just got, say if you've got 2 hours ahead of you, you've got 2 hours where you're going to be doing A-level geography revision, and you're just going to be looking at the textbook on, tectonics, transform conservative, constructive plate boundaries or whatever. That's probably going to feel like quite a slog. But if you did 30 minutes looking at the textbook and then 30 minutes watching the geography geezer on Topic 1 Tectonics, 20 minutes of flashcards, 40 minutes of Seneca, you've now broken that up, the revision, into more digestible chunks, and it's more variety because you're looking at more sources, and you've probably just taken in 2 hours of geography A-level far more productively than if you just looked at the textbook. So that's where I'll be finishing this video today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next YouTube video. Goodbye.